Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another recording slash live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, May 29th, Memorial Day in the United States, and apparently that means it's also a great day for my internet service provider to decide to not work. So we're starting a live stream rather later than I had planned on it, and let's see, we need to play 50 warrior class cards, win 3 games with the rogue, and play 15 demons. I think I could probably play 15 demons relatively easily, so let's hop into that. Now, because of the let's see, which do I have a demon deck? Yes, I do. Let's start with that. Because of the approaching E3 and Memorial Day and all of that, there's not really a ton of news. So I'm gonna cross my fingers that despite the fact that I'm starting at a different time, that I'll either get new or continued fans to come on and chat, because otherwise this is potentially gonna be very close to an hour's worth of streaming in total. Not really a lot to talk about otherwise. And one of the things I was going to talk about, and I didn't even bother to write it down, is kind of the fact that I've noticed myself kind of getting a little repetitive. I guess most people wouldn't catch it until they've watched almost all my content, but like, I kind of have the same opinions and the same rants to the same opinions. So and on a few cases, I feel like I'm not really driving myself to say anything new. But so I'm kind of bored of my own voice, and more than anybody else probably is, just on the fact that I've heard myself say the same thing, particularly on the lines of economics and seeing companies invest into video game companies and DLC, and it's really kind of the same rant over and over again with DLC, pre-ordering, and episodic games. All things that probably should be said over and over again, but I would like to get more questions, get more interactions. Last stream, somebody asked me about something political, and you know, it probably wasn't super useful to talk about that as a video game critic, but it's kind of nice to just to say something different.
Job's done.
So let's, I suppose, as I'm hoping people will come on, let's just go through the news. I barely have half of my whiteboard filled with news, and I don't really know why the news has been a little dry. I could have probably filled it out with announcements. There have been a lot of Japanese games announced lately, which I suspect probably means that there's been some kind of convention or reason for that, but only a couple I felt were really worth mentioning. Let's just start at the top though. The Friday the 13th game came out, and it is having awful server issues, and I am really not amazingly surprised by that, because
I will enjoy watching you die.
I can ease your pain.
as it goes, let's see. The random demon from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, I'm not really surprised that the Friday the 13th game is bad. It didn't ever look good. The most interesting thing about it is that they somehow got the license to the name Friday the 13th, which I assume is probably not that hard to get, in all honesty. I doubt I played 15 demons there. But we'll try again. I may have played close to 7 of them. Yeah, 5. So 3 more games. Just like that, and we're fine. Originally, it was only going to be spiritually like the Friday the 13th game, so it was a very small, I believe, Kickstarter game to begin with. Then they got way over their head when people started taking notice of it, and the owner of the rights of Friday the 13th allowed them to actually use Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th name, which I'm not sure really if there really is even a copyright or trademark for the phrase Friday the 13th, because it may just be too general. So it may just be the license of Jason Voorhees. It is more than likely going to be one of the last asynchronous multiplayer games out there, where one player plays as the bad guy who's super powerful against multiple good guys. In this case, Jason Voorhees is the bad guy, and the other players are camp counselors trying to fix vehicles to escape, is I think how the game goes.
I can ease your pain.
There seems to be a few ways through multiple steps that you can actually kill Jason Voorhees and win that way, but for the most part, the goal is to escape. This is very, very similar to Dead by Daylight, which wasn't an amazingly interesting game in the first place. And frankly, if you're just going to compare, Dead by Daylight has the advantage of allowing you to play as multiple different types of bad guys instead of just one, who have different abilities and different areas. And frankly, the gameplay mechanic in Dead by Daylight is a little bit better, because when the bad guy captures you, he has to put you on this basically like a cross to slowly drain out all the life that is all the life in the player, and that takes a while, and the player can be saved. As far as I've seen, from what little I've looked at the Friday the 13th series, none of that is really the case. It seems if you get near Jason Voorhees, he can probably just kill you, if not majorly hurt you, in very quick, short actions, and that's not great. The animation always looked bad. It always looked really bad in this game, in Friday the 13th, and I was crossing my fingers, just hoping that that would improve before it came out. It seems like there's only one area in the entire game, or maybe it randomly generates the locations of few buildings in the same area. It really doesn't look like a game in general. This has been my complaint about it from the beginning, is it just doesn't look like it has any gameplay in it. You try to lock doors and keep people keep them out, and that's kind of all you can do. Let's see. Let's play that. And before the game even came out, it didn't look good. I don't know if any of the big 3 horror movie series that I'm thinking about, when you have like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and then maybe a little bit lower the Hellraiser series, and if you want to throw in a modern one, you could have Saw. Saw had a couple of games, and I can't believe they're actually making another Saw movie, but none of those games specifically strike me as things that would work none of those movie series specifically strike me as something that would make good video games. And Friday the 13th in particular is kind of the worst case of that. It feels like what you might do if you were trying to do something like Outlast, but not quite Outlast. Let's see, I need to play demons though. So I have to try this.
Doom for you. By the holy light.
So yeah, it's even before the game came out, it didn't look good. And now that the game is out, well, apparently the servers are working like garbage. Every single video game reviewer who has spent any time on it has wasted most of their time, and the servers are awful. Apparently the Xbox One version of the game is actually the beta client. It's not even the same version as others. I need 3 more demons to play, then I'm done. And they say they're working around the clock to fix the server issues, but this thing's dead in the water, and I guess pun intended there, since that is I guess how Jason Voorhees dies in most of the movies. I haven't really bothered to watch all the Friday the 13th movies. They always struck me as more interested in showing the campers, the camp counselors running around in their underwear, more than making an interesting horror character to kill them. Because unlike Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, who was a terribly written, but at least he had a personality character, a personality to deal with, Jason Voorhees didn't really talk and didn't really do anything. He's just this unstoppable monster, which you could certainly do movies that are better than that, where you don't show the monster at all. If he's just gonna be an unknowable evil, you might as well just be an unknowable evil. Moving on though, let's just keep moving through the news. Nintendo's stocks have jumped to an 80-year high following Monster Hunter XX for the Switch being announced. I assume this is Nintendo of Japan stocks, because I don't think Nintendo of America has been around for 80 years. No, they should have just been out from 83, which only puts it somewhere close to 35, 40 years without doing the actual math.
I can ease your pain.
So that just is a good indicator on how popular Monster Hunter is in Japan and how well known it is. I wouldn't be upset if it came to PC. It would certainly give me something different to do than shooters if I had just played one Monster Hunter game, but then I would also have to be very careful not to play every single variation or version of that that potentially would come about. But I'll probably give you demons +1/+1. I guess there's really nothing else to that news. I was not exaggerating when I said there was no news. Nintendo stocks jumped to an 80-year high. I guess you kind of look at that and you realize that Nintendo of Japan is a very conservative company that has a lot of cash on hand. And so it's not particularly like you would invest into Nintendo of Japan to make quick short-term profits. It's not something like what you would do for an internet startup company like maybe Snapchat, which Snapchat stocks actually skyrocketed when they first IPO'd and then plummeted down to almost nothing. If I heard that story right. Well, I guess I could have done something more there. So I would say if you're investing in the Japanese individual stocks, which maybe you can, maybe you can't, because some countries you can't invest in companies unless you're a citizen of that country, so that they don't want, for instance, China or Russia to spend a couple $1 billion and then own 100% controlling shares of all of the companies in a different country. But if you could buy Nintendo, I'd say you probably are buying it like you would buy bonds or gold, as something that's very stable and not going to go anywhere, which is also part of the reason why we see that Nintendo doesn't actively really bother to do too much. Because why should they bother when they have all that cash available to them? Let's see. Go ahead and hit here. It'd be nice if I won. Sure. Final Fantasy VII Remake has shifted from external to internal development in its focus, which kind of implies that Final Fantasy VII is not going to come out anytime soon. Like, if you're shifting from external to internal development, that pretty much means you're starting over from scratch again. So that's probably fine, because from what I recall of seeing Final Fantasy VII Remake, the game wasn't doing too hot anyways. And if this is going to be their way of riding that train, it's that might be a good way to move. But certainly remember that is Square Enix, and Square Enix is certainly doing a lot of weird stuff right now. For instance, they said they do want to see Hitman continue, but in all honesty, if they did care, and the truth is they don't, they wouldn't have tried and announced that they were trying to sell out IO Interactive and then caused IO Interactive to have to lay off people. All of these things would have been done without any announcement at all if they really cared, and they just actually want to, well, what's the right phrase here? They want to make profit off of it. That's the right phrase. Yeah. Not a difficult phrase to figure out at all. They just want to make money, and so they don't care if they destroy Hitman as a series. Hitman as a series is pretty much a moderately good series in the first place. You have about 6 games, and arguably 3, including the newest one, which was released very oddly and changed in so many different ways, probably directly because of Square Enix's interference. That I seriously doubt too many people are going to be very interested in buying that franchise. And even if they do buy the franchise, are they going? I don't think they're going to really want to buy the employees that made the game, and it seems like the employees are already leaving ship, so or being fired, so it's too little too late.
A paltry task.
So yeah, Yeah, but don't for a second think they really care. If they cared, they wouldn't have gone down this process. They the way this happens in most companies, if you want to get rid of a division, is you just tell everybody you won't be renewing their contract slash keeping them on in the next year. You don't sneak it on them. You make it very obvious. You give them plenty of time to find other employment. And if you just want to sell the IP and the company in total, then you would just secretly try to go into negotiations without any of that being leaked. And none of that seems to be the case here. Moving on, Shenmue 3 is going to skip E3 27, which probably just means that Shenmue 3 is not going to be out anytime soon. As we go into E3, anything that you figure should have a trailer, an announcement, or something new about it said. If there isn't something said, you can guess that the development is going to have that release date pushed back. We are in a weird position, I suppose, where the rest of this year might have a lot of games get pushed back, but I'm not 100% certain that that's what's going to happen. Add a random demon to my hand.
Careful, they bite.
Random minion into a 1/1 squirrel, please. Well, that didn't really do much, but Rhyme came out. The game pretty much sucks, but it also has technical issues, and they've come out and said they will remove De Nouveau from it, which I guess some people are blaming the De Nouveau anti-cracking software in it for the technical issues, which, I mean, that drum gets beaten a lot, so it seems like there's certainly a lot of smoke, if not fire, to say that De Nouveau severely hinders performance in games. And it seems just the standard operating procedure now for games to come out with De Nouveau, and as soon as De Nouveau gets cracked, they just take it out of the system, and they're like, well, it got us those first couple of weeks of sales, and that's all we really cared about. But there's really nothing else to say about that. Killer Instinct is still happening in a very weird way. They're this weird. I think the system is a free-to-play system where you're allowed to play certain characters on certain weeks for free, and then you can pay money to unlock specific characters or all the characters, something like that. And the base part of the game is just not even a consideration to it. So it's a weird way to go, but then I guess Killer Instinct is this third tier. Let's try to win some rogue games. This will be interesting. Which rogue deck do I want to play? We'll try this. It's not going to beat Taken. It's not going to beat... Killer Instinct's not going to beat Capcom versus SNK. It's not going to come up against Injustice, which is probably one of the most fair comparisons to it. But it can be its own thing and be slightly nostalgic, and because it's still happening after E3, their new character Eagle will join the series, the lineup. So if there's kind of like the new release of Hitman, they're trying to just keep a consistent fan base even over having a huge fan base. Let's just keep going on the news. PS3 production has ended in Japan, which is to say it's probably ended production everywhere. a beta patch is out for Vanquish to fix an interesting bug where the higher the frame rates increase the damage that was either being dealt to the enemies or the enemies were dealing. I could never get it straight, but either way it was certainly messing with the balance. Far Cry 5 will support 2-player co-op across the full campaign. It also will have airplanes, muscle cars, and dogs you can hire to steal guns from enemies. And as far as Far Cry 5, I guess I don't really have anything else to say. I'm gonna just choose to hold my tongue about their choice for enemies until I see or hear about how well Far Cry 5 really does it. Whether it ends up alienating a lot of the conservatives that live in the United States unfairly, or whether it is a single depiction of a fictional cult slash gang. Alright, so I have to do this, which gives me a coin, which is a bear trap, and then let's see, what do I want to do? This, end the turn. So 2 games that I thought aren't really worth mentioning by themselves, but in general are Little Witch Academia and a Steins Gate video game have been announced, both of which are moderately popular as far as I know. I haven't been watching anime in a while, so I noticed the names at the very least, so they're hardly video games that can fly under the wire as things that as potentially, what am I trying to say here? They are known entities in the anime series, unlike other games that might be based off an anime. I would imagine in the old days something like a Saint Seiya video game for an NES might not be immediately recognized as being based off the Saint Seiya series. This is something that I don't feel has been happening very much lately, and it probably for the better. So we have this potential case where should I play this? Add a random spell when I'm inspired. Let's do this. And I did not say that right at all.
Justice is mine.
So yeah, I'm hoping to not see more of that. None of those games ever turn out to be that good. I feel like movies should be made for movies. Video games should not be turned into movies. Movies should not be turned into video games. We don't really have a lot of examples of this working well. And we have tons and tons of examples of it not working at all. Let's go ahead and attack before we do anything.
Let's negotiate. You conceive, and I'll let you live.
And then, in just a couple of things left here, the Randy Purgeford, the CEO of Gearbox, along with about 13 other large companies such as Apple, Amazon, Google, have told the Texas governor not to pass any laws that discriminate in a short, like 1-paragraph statement. Now, I assume this probably stems from efforts in Texas to pass discriminatory bathroom bills for public buildings slash schools, where
This guy's
and
toast.
they're calling them discriminatory because it would do things like specifically tell the tiny percentage of transgender children in Texas. Texas is a huge state. Whether they have to go to their birth gender or their appearance gender bathroom, and instead of just doing what happens right now, is each principal school district decides that on their own, pretty much, and or it gets figured out. It's really just people making politics out of nothing.
We are the sword in the shadows.
Let's go ahead and kill this.
Justice is mine.
So, on the face of it, I can't say anything wrong with that. In general, they've made such a simplistic statement to say that our companies and Gearbox is out of Dallas, Texas, although they have made a secondary office in Montreal, Quebec. So there is I suppose, reason for the governor to listen to that. Most of those other companies, however, are not out of Texas, so I don't think there's a Google or a Microsoft or a Apple headquarters or major office in Texas. However, they all do major business in Texas, and so they do have an investment there. On the other hand, it is, I suppose, just companies getting into politics when you'd prefer video game companies just make video games, and it is now the political beliefs of the CEO is getting enforced in the company policy of Gearbox, which, if you don't happen to agree with some of the political beliefs of the CEO of a video game company, it kind of sucks then when you see them take effort and profits that they got from the games that you bought, and you wanted them to use that money to make games. Now they've spent that effort on that profit to instead.
Justice is mine.
Darn it. I could have won. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not as few people that end up boycotting Gearbox over something like that letter, but probably not that letter, because it's written so vaguely that you have to basically come back with a retort to say that you are pro-discrimination, whatever that may be, which is not an argument anybody has successfully tried to make in probably 60 years in the United States. Anyways, that's it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. Hopefully more people get on the chat. We have a new person, so I'll accept that friend request. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another live stream / recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, May 29th, Memorial Day, and things are not really going that fast because of that. Not a lot of news. I went through all of it in 30 minutes. I need to play 50 warrior cards, so let's hop into that. Which warrior deck do I have? Probably this one, if I was to guess. This is my best deck. And so, if anybody is on, I'm looking at the chat for the first 30 minutes and nobody has commented, so get on that chat, ask me questions. Let's try to talk about some different things. The only thing I can talk about left here so far, and I don't know how I'm supposed to stretch this out into 30 minutes of conversation, is what I've been doing in between the last stream and this 3 days ago. I finished Borderlands, and it was kind of a out with a whimper situation with Borderlands 1. The thing is, the game is great. Playing Borderlands 1 and its 4 pieces of DLC. All of it's great, except for Mad Moxie's Underdome, which really sucks unless you have 4 players. In general, playing several parts of that game by yourself is not amazingly fun. But putting that all aside for a moment, it's totally worth doing once or twice or 3 or 4 times in your life. But I feel like I'm approaching the 5th time that I played it, and there was definitely some quests in the last 2 bits of DLC. So the Secret Armory of General Knox and the the Claptrap's new Robo Revolution. Each one of those those 2 DLCs had collectible quests where you just had to do a lot of extra work, and by the end I was like, yeah, forget it. Let's just forget it. And certainly now I kind of need to regain my stamina for playing Borderlands, because in the next 6 months I would like to play Borderlands 2 all the way through. And if I am going to do that, then I need to specifically be able and willing to have not only enough time to air all of that, but also enough energy to play all of that. And hopefully Borderlands 3 doesn't come out before then, but if it does, I guess so be it. Might be the next thing to say.
I don't have enough mana.
So yeah, Borderlands. Great game, totally worth playing. Kind of hard to play by yourself. It has some major problems in the fact that you can't ever respec and play as the other characters. So if you wanted to play as each character class, you would end up spending a ridiculous number of hours, probably 400 to 500, somewhere between 400 and 500 hours, just trying to. I don't want to attack that one. Just trying to get all 4 characters up to max level. And I know in Borderlands 2 there's at least 5 other characters that you can play as. So that becomes crazy too, having to play the game all the way. Again, I think you'd be very justified to cheat, and even in cheating you're not going to have the greatest experience. before we do this, let's go ahead and play this. Take that victory. So that was Borderlands. And then after finishing Borderlands, I got into an odd little rut where I decided I was kind of looking and thinking about what I wanted to play next. I know I need to play BioShock Infinite's DLC next, but I wanted to do something in between. And so I was thinking about what I could do, looking through all my stuff. I probably need to do a bunch of paperwork still and schedule videos. I'm always behind on that. But so eventually I decided I wanted to play Loom. Since I did the remaster of The Secret of Monkey Island, it would only make sense to play Loom and since Loom came right before The Secret of Monkey Island and it's a decent reference, it's referenced in The Secret of Monkey Island, and I figured Loom is a pretty different game too, since it's this weird music-based thing. Oddly, in playing it, I realized that it actually is a very early successor to the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I hadn't really gotten that before, but that is certainly how I see it. But then as I start doing the research, turns out that the version you can buy on Steam that I owned is not really a good version at all, because it's heavily changed in the dialogue and to make it capable of working on a CD-ROM and having voice acting and all the lines spoken out. They rewrote all the lines to be shorter, so tons of dialogue, tons of characterization. They also took out a ton of all of the up-close facial shots when characters were talking, simply because they couldn't get the lips to sync up to the spoken text, which is a ridiculous thing to do. But the CD-ROM talkie version you get on Steam for Loom also is 256 colors, so it's kind of the best looking version, except for the fact that it's censored in a few places for blood, and it doesn't have the up-close pictures on the of the people, so even if it looks better for the colors, it's still not the right version to play. Ideally, you would want to play the FM Towns version if you're looking for visuals. So to get the FM Towns version, there's a thing on the discussions where you can on the Steam discussions where you can download a copy of that. But when you play the FM Towns version, which FM Towns was a Japanese PC style PC that a lot of point-and-click adventure game makers dealt with, that is 256 colors with the up-close Facebook. And this game, by the way, is incredibly old, because the original version was in EGA graphics with 16 colors, and boy is it odd to play a game that only has 16 colors in 2017, but that's what I ended up doing. The game only takes about it only takes about 3 hours to beat, and so I did it two different versions, the talkie CD-ROM version and then the EGA version, the original version. And the EGA version is so much better on the story. However, for a game that's based on music, there's still, in both versions I played, a lot of points where music just cuts out and there's silence, which seems very odd. But it's way worse on the talkie CD-ROM version, where there's entire other parts of the music are missing. It was a very weird comparison of a game that was released in 1990, 1991, and 1992 in 3 completely different versions, none of which are really satisfactory. Loom by itself as a game is not that interesting of a story. It would be nice if it was remade and stretched out into something. Being a game that's only 3 hours long at most, it tells you that there's not a lot of things going on there. Let's see. What can I do? If I attack here, it's going to deal 1 damage to all minions. Which means these guys are going to die anyways. Which means I probably should just do this. But if I do this, it's going to death rattle them anyways, so let's just do this. This is an interesting way to do things. So I almost considered playing the FM Towns version after playing the talkie version first, then the original EGA version of Loom. But I figured, no, this is already going to be a rough series to air, because I'm playing something extremely old on expert mode and cheating throughout most of it, because playing it on expert mode doesn't really help you, and the game doesn't really help you when you've memorized the solutions, the magic spells that you musically play. So yeah, that's gonna be a rough series. I might double up on it and just put it out over the course of a week. It'll play, I'm thinking, right between Broken Sword 4 and Broken Sword 5, which I feel like is probably a good thing. Broken Sword 1's remaster also had a similar issue where when it was remastered, a lot of story and elements got taken out, and so there'll be a nice comparison to make there. And with that, that's kind of all I did. I stayed up really late last night playing Loom twice in a row. It's not really a game you want to not play in one setting, because it doesn't ever write down the spells, and the spells are semi-randomized. There's 3 possibilities that they could be every time you play the game, which means as I was cheating, I was often trying one possibility and going, no, that can't be it, and then trying the next possibility and going, no, that's not it, then finally getting it on the 3rd possibility. Loom is very much a historical piece that, in fact, is probably one of the oldest games I've ever covered or will cover. Most games, I have a category on my Steam library that's just called Too Old, because the games are just too old to play. Hitman 1 is a good example of that game, style of game, because it's in 3D graphics, but a modern PC causes it to run so fast that you're running around like you're Sonic the Hedgehog when you should be a slowly walking assassin. But Loom doesn't have that problem because it has the Scum VM engine to run Scum games, and so that's a still very active project to get more and more old games to play smoothly, old DOS games in particular. And Loom was certainly sold well enough and pretty popular, so it has a historical aspect to it. But I won't get too many of those games on my channel. Eventually, as I'm approaching the Steam Summer Sale, Eventually, I may just start collecting games that I intentionally have no desire to ever play, just so I am sure I have them in an easy to access way, which is silly certainly, but what else? What else to do? I don't know. Maybe just save the money. Maybe buy a new video card. There's actually a lot of better things I could do than buy games that I have no intention of playing. It depends on how historically important I feel like a game is, and there aren't too many games out there like that. Things like the original Doom. I probably already own it, or maybe I would purchase it. Give a random friendly minion Divine Shield and Taunt. If you have a minion with Taunt, let's go and start playing some things. The original Doom, the original Wolfenstein, I don't know that I'd ever actually bother to play those games. Although, on the fact of Doom and Wolfenstein, I don't think I've ever actually gone all the way through all of those games too, because they were pretty difficult. So I wouldn't be actually too upset with that idea. If I could play them and actually win. That being said, I probably, since I have the remake of Doom, I probably would prefer to just play Doom 1 as a spotlight, Doom 2 as a spotlight, Doom 3 as a spotlight, and then go right into the remake of the next Doom. And then have 3 episodes that are not that long and don't take that much commitment to do. And maybe at some point I would want to play Doom 3 just for historical reasons, but it's almost like if I'm going to play Doom 3, the next game I would play would probably be something like Duke Nukem Forever. And honestly, if I was going to do that, then I need to find a better justification. Don't want to do this or this. Attack. There. Let's see, what else? It's really weird to have like nearly 600 games in your library and so many of them be a little bit hard to put your finger on, so that I can't even directly off the top of my head think where I'm gonna take my channel in the next 4 months, after the next 4 months or so. Like, I suppose that would be around the time of the new year. Has +2 attack damage when you have spell damage +1. I'm gonna attack here, play this, and attack here. And yeah, I've got nothing. I've really got nothing else to talk about. So come on to the chat. Hopefully my chat is working. I have had problems. I'm reloading, I'm checking. I suppose I could do a little bit better of a check too. Let's see. I'll switch to the YouTube app, which doesn't seem to usually work as well for chat, but we'll see if there's anything else. Because I was having internet trouble too that certainly might mean that people are trying to chat and I'm just not seeing it. it's certainly gonna be weird. And there is definitely some problems with my current release of videos because Borderlands is coming out right now. Kane is coming out as a Mother's Day joke. Bioshock Infinite is coming out right now. If a lot of people start asking for me to play a bunch of different games, and I was to actually respond to that, which I'm almost certainly not going to, because I just don't have the funding to buy brand new games and play them. I couldn't really pivot, even if I wanted to. Not for probably 2 months. My channel, as far as pre-recorded stuff, is locked in. And so if somebody tells me they want me to play something in the next 2 months, that they're gonna have to wait till Borderlands is done and Bioshock Infinite is done, at the very least, and probably longer than that, because I have to keep on creating things. And this is interesting. This. I guess the good news on that issue, there's not a ton of new things that are being announced that have caught my interest. But once E3 comes around, things will be announced. But even when E3 does come around and things are announced, it's not typically the case of games actually being available for purchase right then and there. Let's keep this interesting, I suppose, and we'll see if maybe this taunt deck might have slightly more warrior cards. I don't think it does, though. I need to rebuild my decks again as soon as that new patch comes in, though. That's what we're waiting for. As soon as that new patch comes in, we will be able to copy and paste decks out really easily. And this is one, so I'll hold on to that. And then I could just build a deck full of only warrior cards that are really cheap, play all those cards, and use that ability to finish daily quests. Also, when the new patch comes out, daily quests will be able to be done with friends, so I think we'll see a major increase, hopefully, of people just wanting to play with me, and then because of that, they will get daily quests done even quicker, which might eventually just lower the amount of streaming time, which is probably a good thing because it gives me more time to work on other footage. I don't feel like after the last time I did some major scheduling of my videos, I don't feel like I'm incredibly far behind in recording. I'm still maintaining about 2.5 to 3 months ahead. I think it's hard to be certain, but I'm also not gaining anything either. The only thing that I'm gaining footage on is Hearthstone, and unless I was to do something really, really crazy, like put Hearthstone episodes in between other time slots so that nothing else aired except for Hearthstone or Hearthstone aired twice and use it as almost like reruns, that doesn't help. It doesn't really help that my 6 o'clock time slot, which is Hearthstone, is 4 or 5 months ahead. If anything, that only hurts. Maybe we should start to consider, or I should start to consider, going to 7 days a week for Hearthstone footage. It depends on what the next update turns out to happen. I could go with longer recordings again, and that might be a better way to solve this. Is just to, instead of going 30 minutes, go an hour. And I suppose, because I've been having internet trouble too, I haven't really been looking. So I don't know if YouTube Spotlight did anything on their stream for Memorial Day. And that was something I was supposed to follow up on, because I know that a couple days ago they decided to put out a post promoting women content creators, and I felt like that was odd timing, and it would be very odd timing if they then did nothing on Memorial Day 2 days later, and I think that's exactly what they've done. But I'm only speculating that, so I can't be certain. I suppose there was a way you could have promoted women veterans, if you wanted to, if you insisted on going that route, but they didn't bother to do that. The vast majority of casualties, and as far as veterans, are male, just because it's you're including many previous generations where women were only playing a very limited or almost no role in the military services in the United States. Let's see.
Take this! Job's done.
What's this do? I get armor every time it takes damage. Good. But yeah, that's just speculation on my part, and I don't have anything else to talk about. I guess I can talk about what I did while the internet was down, which was probably a stupid thing in hindsight. I had a spare Lego set because I got it on sale and was holding on to one that I wanted to do, and it was a cheaper, not expert level, just a 3-in-1 of a building, or perhaps 2 buildings side by side, depending on the configuration you built it. And there's 3 different ways you could build 3 different types of building with the style and number of Legos in the box. So you got to pick, and 3 different booklets with 3 different instructions. So the internet was down. I knew it was not my fault, not my router, not anything on my side, not my cable modem. It was at the pole or further. So I figured they were working on it on Memorial Day, which I don't know why you would want to have people working on the day when people are guaranteed to be off, but who knows, maybe that does statistically work out for them to get less complaints. Or maybe it just is a good way to give all your customer service representatives the day off and then cause a bunch of complaints that won't be resolved because it will just go to an answering machine. That is a cynical way of thinking, but very possible. These internet service providers we're talking about. So I pulled out that Lego set and decided to start putting it together. And about halfway through putting it together, and it only took maybe 2 hours in total, because of course it's just a kid's toy. I thought to myself, you know what, I probably could have just gone and I probably could have just played a game that doesn't require the internet and started recording that. I could have played BioShock Infinite, for instance, instead of streaming, and start going through that DLC. I could have played any number of other games. Very few games actually require the internet, and it just didn't occur to me until I had all the pieces on the Lego pieces on the table, and by that point I was like, well, no, I'll just finish this. So that was slightly eventful. I've hit the point as a relatively new Lego creator. I've hit the point where my boxes for the sets are no longer so few that they're out of the way. So I'm going to have to do some cleaning and take all of the boxes out of the room I have all of the Legos displayed in. However, I'm still far from having a ridiculous collection. But the boxes themselves are have a tendency to be really big, and they have a tendency to be really bent up. Even if you order them from Lego, which really sucks. Lego does not do a good job of packing their own their own boxes, at least from the shipping facility I get it from, which sucks. I always appreciated the rightstuff.com, which sells anime DVDs and movies, that they knew the people who were buying it were obsessive collectors who didn't want their packaging damaged at all. And out of probably hundreds of orders, maybe only had 2 or 3 that had any problem at all with them. And it was small issues, if any issue at all, when it happened. Whereas when you order something from Amazon, like particularly DVDs, no guarantee it's going to be in good shape. If Lego is the same way, it kind of sucks. So if you want a Lego box that's not bent up and ugly, you have to go to a Lego store and buy the sets and look at the box yourself, which can be quite the journey. There aren't that many out there. See, I'm not actually trying to win here, remember. I'm just trying to play the warrior cards, and I don't have that many. But need to hurry up. This will be the last recording because there's nothing to talk about. So if after this I'm just gonna stream the rest of this, and I know I've been doing this, and let me know in the comments if you're watching this as a recording and you feel like you're getting severely gypped because of this, but my intention is to kind of just stream and let the video only air as streams, and then have the recordings be more focused around talking about what's going on in the news video game wise and what's going on in my life video game wise, and because of that, I'm taking the focus off of actually seeing me do all of the daily quests. I have given it some consideration to just streaming every day and doing every single daily quest daily, but then there would be a lot of times when I miss days, and it would really ruin the rest of my channel. So it's highly unlikely that would happen. but it is something I've thought about. It would have to. The thing that would push me into doing streaming every day is that my entire channel starts to actually make a living wage off of the fact that it off of streaming, and because of that it I have to just go where the money goes, and then I suppose then I would stream every day. And if there's tons of people talking to me and tons of people on the chat and tons of people are coming to my channel and watching my other videos because of it, I guess I'll do it. I guess that would be my sellout moment there, is to go to streaming every day. But that would be a lot of effort. And I can't guarantee any consistency. I mean, even today, I'm airing extremely late, and we're seeing that there's nobody commenting, and nobody got on because I'm extremely late. So I probably could stream earlier than around 3 o'clock Central Time and get even more people to watch, but yeah, that's not gonna happen. Alright, well, that's it for this recording. If you're watching live, stay tuned. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Let's just check the chat again. Nobody online. I'm gonna switch the YouTube chat off of what it is on and just see if YouTube posted anything today. I did get new comments. Reigns is also new. I forgot that was airing. Everything's new. Looking here. Let's see, 13 hours ago. I think that's fair enough to say that they did not comment on Memorial Day at all. Let's see, I need 3 rogue victories. Let's try this and start playing. I don't know how talkative I'm gonna really be, unless people start asking me questions. I think we're gonna mostly just try to take a laid back position. It's hard, certainly, to do both. Like, find that middle ground between totally not saying anything and saying something that's slightly less than what I normally say. So the creator on the Rise program, which is a program that I suggested, but I imagine, or something like that, what I suggested to YouTube, is promoting life as a mommy, which they seem to handpick those who they promote, but whatever. The news tabs, all of the tabs on the app, by the way, have been moved lower down, which seems kind of crazy. see if there's anything live besides tons of people stealing South Park and SpongeBob videos. And people playing music they don't have the rights to. So, yep. See, I imagine that there's some small mention of it, of Memorial Day
Justice is
on
mine.
YouTube, but they're not making a video about it. They're not being big about it. The trending videos. Nobody seems to care one bit. Let's see, we'll just go to YouTube directly. Let's see, gotta search the main thing. Keep on playing.
Think.
Ash to ash.
Justice is mine.
PewDiePie has a please watch video from 3 days ago. I guess I should watch some PewDiePie things. Let's see. No, there's nothing here. There's literally nothing here built around. Let's do this. And then this. And then this. And return. Double check the chat to see if there's anything going on here. Let me look at my other news sources to see if there was anything amazing or important to mention. Nope, nope, nope. Apparently British Airways is having trouble with from outsourcing its entire IT department. And maybe something will come from that, maybe it won't. Let's see. We already talked about that. We talked about Texas passing discriminatory laws. Apparently they just passed a bill that seems to block non-Christians from adopting. Wow. It says people who want to adopt children will present a letter of recommendation from their Christian clergyman. That's not gonna stand up in court at all. That's blatantly unconstitutional. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Nope. Oh, is this still my turn? Oops. I shouldn't. So this is how I normally play, if you ever wondered. Distracting myself looking at on the phone. Trying to multitask and proving that it is impossible for any human being to actually multitask as well as they think they actually can.
There's no look safe.
Let's see. So yeah, I guess that means there is no news. No other news that I remember. There probably was some stuff.
Think.
This will do 2 damage to everybody, so here's what we gotta do first.
What we do.
This to give everything 3. And then this one could kill this one. Let's see. We gotta do this just right.
Quickly. Justice is mine.
Well, since I don't have anything else to distract myself with, I can now just focus on playing the game, so no more stalls. At least until somebody starts commenting. Which, please do.
I suppose.
I would take a troll right about now.
Get behind me.
But then I imagine a lot of people actually are just busy. Death rattle triggers twice. Nice to know.
The scourge will consume you. All realities, all dimensions.
Justice is mine.
So yeah, I'm back to that whole thought. I don't want to go totally quiet, but I don't really have anything to say, which makes me a pretty terrible streamer. But I know that's how a lot of streamers are anyways. They just sit here, and usually they're on Twitch, so they can just play music in the background and not get caught for doing that.
I let the dogs out.
We have to kill everything, or this is going to trigger twice. So we do 5 here. We do this. We do this, this, and we take the victory. Good.
Mine.
In the turn. And finally somebody's online. Hey Rydo from Argentina, you are the best. Well, thanks, Walter. Thanks, giving me very high praise there to say I'm the best. I wish more people thought like you, certainly, and more people have seen and watched my videos. But yep, I think I have a lot to improve upon, but a lot of it also is probably beyond what I can admit to myself or see. And there certainly are certain things that I could do that I just feel would compromise myself too much to improve.
The legions I command.
It would be nice to be the best, beat PewDiePie, have 55 million subscribers. PewDiePie is kind of a great example of YouTube and how weird a service it is, because nobody in their right mind would have guessed he would have been the most popular person on YouTube, and yet he was. Yet he is. even now, as people are actively trying to stop him from being the most popular person on YouTube, he's still around. And I guess if you go by views, he is the best, or he would be considered one of the best YouTubers out there, because he's played the YouTube game and got the most YouTube ad revenue and the most subscribers and the most metrics of anything. What's this one do? Deal 3 damage to a random enemy. Let's see how this works. I think that works out rather well.
Fresh from Kazakhstan.
There was, I'm not sure if it was Argentina that made that movie on Netflix called The 3%. But that was a really good series on YouTube. I liked that. But I'm not sure if it was from Argentina or not. So I could be attributing things. I have that same issue whenever I watch any Asian show on Netflix. I'll assume it's just a South Korean show, but sometimes it's a Taiwanese show or a Filipino show or something else, and I just
Time to die.
don't pay enough attention to know. But I would recommend watching the 30% regardless of where you're from. It's an interesting story.
Justice is mine.
A lot of people have recommended a lot of those Netflix originals to me, and most of them are pretty bad. In particular, the anime-like shows that Netflix funds tend to be awful because they just don't have the right mentality to them. They look good, but they still don't have interesting action shots most of the time. So it just never works.
Justice is
Let's keep
mine.
playing. Although I very much love Netflix more than I like Hulu or Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime has a tiny amount of interesting things. I still want to go. Haven't gotten around to watching the second season of The Man from High Castle, and I did catch all of the Top Gear guys, whatever their new show is called. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, gain a copy of it and give them a coin.
The master handles.
I'm gonna downsize.
Justice is mine.
Maybe I should have just attacked the face. There. Well, I guess I could get into a slightly political rant. I keep having this concern in the back of my head since the Manchester attacks that what was predicted in V versus Vendetta has been put into motion. And it's a paranoid thought, certainly. But the UK was a pretty totalitarian state. They have cameras everywhere. They have very restrictive laws. They've been very recently passing even worse laws, and I wonder if they didn't use that tragedy to do their own, to create a police state effectively in the UK. And one of the things I've noticed is that the worldwide news that usually is broadcast out of the CNN's worldwide headquarters in London has not been broadcasting anything, and instead it's been CNN's California office broadcasting in the early morning time frame, and that seems a little strange. Let's see. What should we do? Kill this guy?
Well played.
Justice is mine. Quickly.
Job done.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the UK is gonna look like when they stop. When they come out of their current crisis, or if they ever are going to come out of that current crisis. And this is a very political opinion, and it's all based on just paranoid speculation. And it's really the worst case scenario.
Jade Serpent guide you.
Perspective.
Justice is mine.
But yeah, I don't know. After 9/11 happened in the United States, it was a long period of fear and overreaction, and we still to this day have overreaction from 9/11 that is causing the United States to be more and more draconian within their airports in particular, but just in general. And it certainly was a factor in pushing us to the Iraqi war, which was almost
Justice
unquestionably
is
just
mine.
an excuse to by Bush to get rid of Saddam Hussein and make money for his business interests. Ragnaros the Flame Lord. Let's see how this works. What is this thing doing? What is creating these cards?
None may challenge the living.
Justice is mine.
Let's see. If I can win here, I'll be surprised. Nope, that's a loss. And see, I don't even have anything to really say about that. Is that I'm just watching the news and being a little bit more concerned about it, which is a lot more concerned than I'm actually putting into. I guess I probably want to stay with this one for victories. I'm a lot more concerned about the reaction of the UK after the Manchester attacks than I am about what the United States is doing with its mess. If whatever happens in the United States is it feels like we're established enough that we can weather it and eventually set ourselves back on what most will think is the right track, or 51% of us will think is the right track. But it would be potentially dangerous if there was a major terrorist attack in the United States. But I still don't think if that happened that would bolster and help keep President Trump in total power. He's got way too many people who are opposed to him, which is either going to end in him not getting reelected, or him going 8 years and not accomplishing much, or in some other way he is driven out of the presidency. Honestly, he's getting so much what's the right word? So many people are against him that all he has to do at this point is just quit and just blame everybody who's against him and saying that the just call everybody who said a bad thing about Trump as an obstructionist and saying that for the good of the country I cannot stay president because there's far too many people who have vowed to obstruct me to the point of destroying the company. As a true patriot, I've decided to step down. And then he could gracefully exit it, and he would probably be happier with his life. And that would be it. There are definitely scenarios out there where you can, where people can just be against you, and you're going to lose no matter what. Which I think that's really what he's in now. Same is true for Hillary Clinton too. So she needs to learn not to run for president again, because she is going to lose because there are too many people against her. But as the United States, we need to find some new blood, somebody new who actually is going to be capable and willing to do something different. We say this, I guess, every election season, that we want something different and we never get it. So perhaps we just need a political insider for real. Someone who knows how to work through all of the process and actually accomplish some things. But yeah, I don't think if we had another 9/11 style attack or anything, though, that anything would change much. I don't think we could bear to have more civil liberties taken away just out of fear. But I think the UK government, in comparison, is much more willing to allow that to happen. I mean, they've already allowed it to happen to them way too much. And I don't know how you fix that, short of forcing major governmental change. And it's almost impossible to do any of that, or accomplish any of that. And then, of course, there's the North Korea problem that's going to head its way to a bad ending, it seems, regardless of whether anybody wants it to or not. And so many other countries that don't even get that much news coverage too. Let's see, this, and this.
Mine.
And it's been almost 25 minutes now, and we're not making great progress. All I need to do is get 2 rogue victories, which once the update is out, I could have just played somebody, if somebody was online, that is, and asked them to help me get 2 victories. We could have done it in 2 games, and then I would have just needed to play a bunch of warrior cards, which once the new update comes out, I could have done that in 2 games. So I'm looking at potentially maybe as few as 6 games per every 3 days, which I'd be happy with that. And if it really got that easy to get the daily quest done, then I would be perfectly fine then of just playing ranked play. Maybe if I had enough gold over the 10,000 mark of gold, maybe I'd play arena play. That wouldn't be too bad. Let's do this, this, and this. Attack here.
Justice is
Attack here.
mine.
Attack there. And go. I don't know what's going on in Argentina right now. Like, wasn't Argentina the one that had the Pope visit and there was a bunch of kids rounded up, like homeless children? Or was that a different country?
What to do?
That's probably the last thing I've heard about a country like that. And I'm sorry if that's not the right story. And that was a long time ago.
What to do? What to do?
I know Argentina has that giant statue of Jesus. I think, gosh, I'm just showing my ignorance of Argentina. The United States does not teach its kids in school about other countries well at all. They changed my character. Sneaky. Alright, I have 8, which means I can do this,
I have no time for games.
this, and here, 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 here. Attack
Justice is
and
mine.
end the turn.
Job done.
Hopefully Argentina is doing better than Venezuela. But I don't know. I kind of wish the Americas, North, Central, and South America, could get along better and work towards a eventual political merger. Globalism, basically, or at least the first step of it. It seems like to me, as somebody who lives in the United States, which is one of the richest, most opportune, most full of opportunity countries, or so they say, that
Well played.
we could probably help our neighbors to the north and south a lot more than we probably do.
Shadow strike.
And we could work towards eliminating borders and just having something like the European Union. Perhaps we just have like an American Union. We are already the United States of America, so one country is, so why can't we be more united? I know there's a decent amount of corruption in all of the countries, and that probably puts a big stopper to anything like that happening. But there is probably a vast amount of resources that can be better implemented to benefit everybody, both in the sense of workers and just minerals and trees in South and Central America. Even North America, if we could cut that great tundra. They don't want to drill oil out of it, I know that, and I can understand why they wouldn't want to. But just the space alone would be nice. There's plenty of places that are underdeveloped and have very few people, and there's a lot of places that are overdeveloped and have way too many people. That kind of gets to the point of that TV series, the 3%, in the sense that there's only the three. It's based around a society where 3% of the people live in vast wealth and everybody else lives in extreme poverty. Let's go ahead and play this and then return. Yeah, nothing to talk about. And I'm ranting, kind of ranting, not really, but kind of just talking about non-video game things. Oh, I did see that there was a PlayStation 2 version of a game based on John Carpenter's The Thing, which is John Carpenter's The Thing is the remake of another movie called The Thing, which might be the remake of another movie called The Thing, if I'm not if I don't remember. I know that they're up to like 4 or 5 different versions of The Thing have been released, but they made a game based around that movie, and it looked like for the time it probably would have been a decent monster hunting game. In fact, it looks like a very early version of the game Prey, which, when you think about it, the game Prey kind of could have been the movie based off the movie The Thing. It's the exact same premise, a monster that can transform itself to look like other things, and the paranoia around all of that. The concept is definitely the same. Not sure though that Prey implemented it as well as I should.
Oh, goody.
But kind of like Friday the 13th as a video game, The Thing as a video game doesn't have the actors, doesn't have the tension, doesn't have the drama, and so it just doesn't really work. It's not well thought out as a concept. So just keep attacking. So one more victory here, which hopefully I can get. Then I just need to play a bunch of warrior cards, and then I'll be done. And then I guess if there's any extra time in the day, I suppose I will start playing BioShock Infinite's DLC. Let's see, what do I want to do? Let's play this.
You to master.
End the turn. I guess I haven't thought about what I'm gonna do after Broken Sword 5. If I'm gonna do the Secret of Monkey Island in the kids time slots, which I've already started that, so that's gonna probably be the case. There's a few more Telltale games to play, maybe, and there's one I know I haven't gotten, the season 3 of The Walking Dead. So there's at least one more Telltale game to play in the point-and-click adventure slot. And then I need to start moving it, I think, in some way. Possibly. Maybe I don't need to change it, but just pick a new series that I'm going to center it around. After Broken Sword. I could move it to FMV videos, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. There's enough of those out there, and enough of those I've collected. I'm not gonna do the King's Quest collection because, yeah, just because that game's too old and too difficult. So that was one of the options that I was thinking of doing.
The menagerie is for guests.
And I'm not now, so I did a spotlight on it instead. So yeah, I need to look in my library. I wish I could see that easily. Yeah, we can do that. Let me just reload the chat, make sure nobody else has said anything.
Listen closely.
Let's see, if I bring up the Steam app on my phone, I think in a pretty bad way you can
What we do. I'm warning you. I'm unstable. For master.
let's do this.
Job's done.
There we go. Let's see. Library on Steam. Now it'll take a while to load up, and we can go through all the games and start thinking about this. This is the type of work I typically don't do while streaming, but I've got nothing better to do. I might as well multitask. It's still loading. Well, the way this all works is different, so it's sorted by playtime. That's not gonna work. I'd have to sort by name, and then I'd have to remember all the games I've already played, because it doesn't have the category system that's in the actual application. And so sorting by name, it gives me a bunch of 3D Mark games. Yeah, I'm expecting to play A Boy and His Blob eventually. Maybe I'll play Adventure Capitalist at some point too. There was an Agatha Christie game to play. Alan Wake is probably one of the choices I'll play in for Halloween month. And then we start seeing things here that I don't know the name, what they are. One called Among Ripples, Amulet of Dreams, Angry Video Game Nerd, The Video Adventures. That's let's see.
We must consider.
There's another Assassin's Creed game that I'll try to get to in 6 months. Story about my uncle. Maybe get around to that. Axiom Verge. When was I gonna play that game?
Bring out your dead.
Justice is mine.
Let's move on. Bad Rat Show. Bayonetta. That's on my short list as far as games. Some Bejeweled 3, Beyond Good and Evil. Should I play that? They're never gonna make a remake of Beyond Good and Evil, so I should just play it at some point. I have a bunch of the Humongous games. Bionic Commando. Do I have all the versions of that?
I wonder.
Several games that can't be controlled remotely. I wonder what those are.
A worthy disciple.
I really did go to the main AAA games early. Things like BioShock could have been put a lot later out there. I could have covered those a lot later. Blaze Blue, Calamity, something. That Blaze Blue series, I do want to think about getting more of those and getting that done. The Blood Rain series, I want to consider doing that too pretty quickly. Or not, it's not high priority, but I would like to get it done at some point.
All reality.
Justice is mine.
Let's see. Borderlands 400 hours on record. Borderlands 2. Tons of products that can't be controlled remotely, which are probably DLC. Let's see. Brutal Legend? When can I squeeze Brutal Legend in? It's a consideration, certainly. Bulletstorm, I'm not going to touch Bulletstorm until they give me the remastered version for very cheap or free. And I feel like they're eventually going to do that, even though they're claiming they're not. So if that happens 2 or 3 years from now, I would be cool with that. Bully Scholarship Edition, yeah, eventually want to play that too. How am I gonna win this against these guys? I'm not. I'm gonna lose. I have Caesar 3 and 4, and I think that's one of those games where 1 and 2 are not available or really, really old. I have a game just called Card Hunter. Interesting. Let's see. I'm just gonna click that and tell it to install right now because I want to see what that game is. Castlevania. Oh, there's a second Castlevania.
Is someone injured?
Mirror Fate HD. When did I get that game?
Quickly.
You can't go back when you do that, so I can't click on store pages.
The scourge will consume you. Give me a big hug.
Let's see. Sort by name. Let's go back to C's. The fact that I can get down to a C and it's not that hard tells me that compared to some other lists I've dealt with where it's just tens of thousands of entries, there really isn't that many games. Best as I can tell, that the there's only probably about 4,000 games on Steam in general that that are worth playing, and there's probably only about 10,000 at all. That's really interesting. There's probably only about 10,000 games on Steam in total. I do have the whole Command and Conquer series. Can I rush through all of that? I don't know. I would have to get rid of either my
Consider.
kids series or the point and click adventure time slot to play Command and Conquer, and I also would have to have a. I feel like I'd have to have a lot more free time, but it's on the list. Tons of Counter-Strike games. Cross it. I already played that game.
I wonder.
Crisis. I have Crisis, Crisis 2, Crisis Warhead, Crisis Wars. I haven't played any of those. So next time I want a first-person shooter, Darkest Dungeon, Darksiders 2, Definitive Edition. Dead Bits. I don't think that's the new game that just came out. There's one something similar to that name.
Justice is mine.
I haven't ever played Dead Island Riptide. I haven't done Dead Space. Dead Space 3 is the problem there, but
Don't forget to tip
that's not really going to matter too much. There was a new part of Deponia that was added on. I didn't get that.
Guests only.
Deus Ex Invisible War, Deus Ex the original game, Deus Ex Revision, Deus Ex the Mankind Divided. I haven't bought that one. I don't know if that really would be worth buying.
The justice is mine. Is in the way.
Let's see, I have a Devil May Cry here that I haven't played. Dirt Showdown, whenever I get around to wanting to do another Dirt game. Lots of Disney games. The new Doom. Dropsy.
I wonder.
Enslaved Odyssey of the West is one of the games that I want to play relatively quick.
I'm warning you. I'm unstable.
Fallout 4 I don't have, but I do have. I thought Fallout 3. I guess I haven't bought any of those. Interesting. Or, to be more accurate, I haven't re-bought all of those for the PC versions, because I do own Fallout 3 on Xbox 360. There's at least one Game of Thrones game that I haven't played.
None may challenge the living flame.
Let's see. Goat Simulator, I suppose I'll get around to playing that eventually. Grid, when I need a racing game. There's a fighting game called Guacamelee. There's two of those. I could
Consider.
think about that. All the Half-Life things that I could possibly want.
Awaken me too soon, executors.
Let's see. Still a lot of games missing here.
Hey,
That,
you need tickets.
Quickly.
let's see. I have 100 hours on the file for Honey Pop.
Die.
That's a sad statement right there. I have a game called iZombie. I should play that. Totally. They may do a new Jet Set radio, so I'm not sure I'd want to play that, but I do have that installed. LA Noire, that's one I should definitely play. I think I talked about playing that last time. Yeah, if I start installing that one too. I have a different Lara Croft game. I think I already have that. Left 4 Dead's Legendary. I want to play that eventually. A lot of Lego games, of course. Played most of them. Not playing any more of them. Life is Strange is another one to try to play. I'll try to schedule that to come out when Life is Strange Season 2 comes out. Mad Max, that's one to play, certainly.
Tonight, a tale of glorious redemption.
I don't know why this guy won't just defeat me. I really don't care. But I'm willing to, I guess, let them do whatever they want to do. As I'm looking through my Steam library to see what I should play next. I probably should get back and play Rhythm. Don't. Clicked on the wrong button. Just look at the chat, just make sure nobody's chatting. Chat's messing up. One more victory still needed. It's literally a pain in the butt to play this much. To just be sitting in front of a computer screen this much.
None can escape my fury.
Can never quite be 100% comfortable. Yeah, it's gonna be a real shame to have to skip Miss 3, but there's literally no way to play it. It's not available for purchase anywhere. And that sucks because I really liked Miss 3. I thought it took it in a different order, at least. Some of the early access games I got and have covered accidentally are
Hail, friend.
still like a year and a half later in early access. I was very right, I think, to not bother to cover anything until it claims it's done. Just people don't get things done for one reason or the other. Do I have Octodad? I should. Yeah. That's another one I could play. I don't know when I'm gonna schedule these things, though. Oh yeah, I was gonna play Owlboy. There's no reason to wait on that.
Time to die.
A lot of Pajama Sam games. Couple pinball games. That's probably something I'll buy more in the summer sale is more seasons of Pinball Arcade or Pinball FX games. We'll look at more tables. See, it's been about an hour now of being past recordings, and we're still having issues of not getting things done. I have Prison Architect. I didn't realize I had that. I also have Psychonauts, which I should probably play that and that. I also want to play Remember Me at some point. It's not even my turn and they're moving slowly. Start installing that one too. Start installing that. Alright, we've got 5, so if we do this, and then this, and then attack, 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 and return. I wonder what this is. I'm just installing things now just to put them on the list of things to look at.
I must consider.
I could do the Serious Sam series since I have all of that. I could do that. Actually kind of works. That's a good move. Play that right after Borderlands. And I kind of want to play that too.
Quickly.
Oh, it's nice to look here and see that there's actually games I want to play. I have a lot of Sid Meier's Civilizations, so I think I'd play Red Alert Command and Conquer first, because at least that's one I've played before. I'm surprised I spent even 12 hours in Stardew Valley. Just go ahead and play this.
What we do. Summon a random 2-cost minion. I'm about to win, even though this guy's not playing. I have a ton of Star Wars game. I might have to actually squeeze more Star Wars games into coverage besides just on May the 4th.
I wonder.
Yeah, if somebody would just start watching me right now, they probably have no clue what I'm even talking about. Super Meat Boy, I do have it, but I'm never going to play it, so
I wonder.
forget it. I'd never be any good at it, so it would kill my fingers and that my arthritis. A lot of Tex Murphy games, 7th Guest, 11th Hour, The Beginner's Guide. There was one I wanted to play. Hey, why is it? I keep wanting to play that, so I'm gonna just install it. Here we go. This, and then this, and
Justice is mine.
so why did this guy say well played after sitting here and making me waste all of that time? Explain that one to me. Give me any clear explanation at all why he would sit there and waste all of my time and his time and actually watch and not bother to play. I've got so many games now installing, ready to play, and I'm like, this is more than I'll be able to record in the next 3 months.
Versus Garrosh. Victory or death. Bring it on.
See, I'm up to the T's. And here's a Tomb Raider. These are the old Tomb Raiders, I believe. I hadn't even thought about that. Torchlight? Yeah, I can't play Torchlight or Torchlight 2 anytime soon. Someday. Valkyrie Chronicles, I have one of those games. That'd be nice to play at some point. Velvet Assassin, I want to play that at some point. Even though it's probably a terrible game. I have one Warhammer game, Vermintide, I believe. So many other ones I could get. I need to actually play. I could try to do You Don't Know Jack Season 2 for more of that stuff. But that didn't really prove a helpful way of creating content quicker or easier. There really is no helpful way to make more content short of just having somebody else do it.
Job's done.
So yeah, looking back, looking through the entire list of Steam games, there's a lot there. I was able to install a lot of things that caught my eye. Maybe get the next 3 months or so good. The summer sale will happen, so maybe I can get maybe some newer, bigger ticket items. But in general, there's still... I have some big holes in the collection. There's definitely a lot of older games that probably aren't on Steam or available anywhere that are missing. There's probably a lot of ones that don't run very well on PCs. I imagine there's some other issues.
Ready your lance,
Now remember here, we're trying to play the warrior cards. And I don't know if these are warrior cards or not. Does the border of being crimson here mean that it's a card like this? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I bet not.
Blood and plunder.
Let's attack here. Attack here. Keep going. Let's see.
Try this.
Probably should just take the victory now. I think I've played all the warrior cards I have. Let's see.
Job's done.
I probably should have killed that, shouldn't I have?
My eyes are open.
Somebody just opened a legendary. Alright. Well, regardless of what I do, I'm dead, so let's just play this and then return. I get the feeling I should really comment back. I need a moderator while I'm streaming, just somebody that's capable of just saying hi back on my behalf. But I mean, people would know too that it wasn't me saying hi. But I do feel kind of like I'm leaving people hanging when they say hello and I say hello on the stream and then don't post anything. Eventually, I suppose, an on-screen system might be the right way to do this.
Victory or death.
Although I don't know exactly how that works.
The legions I command.
Molten Blade. And it changes. Darn it.
Who goes there?
Changes even by your first turn, so you can never actually play a Molten Blade apparently. Or maybe there's some tricky way you could pull it off, but it doesn't seem like you can. So look at this card, the Wicked Knife. It has no border edge around the title. This does. Which makes me think that these are warrior cards. Oddly, it seems like you can make a moderate amount of progress just using weapon cards. So who knows? If I equip this and do this, attack, and do that should be good. Reload the chat just to see what's going on.
For this
Alright, play this to deal 1 damage, or play this, then this. Nope, we gotta do this, and then this. And kill this.
Job done.
And then end the turn. It's putting all these ambush cards in my deck. Alright. Attack. Play this card and in the turn. Was this destroy all cards in your deck that cost 3 or less? Interesting. Interesting choice. This. 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 And do we want to kill something? Yes, I think we do. And then end the turn. So now if he wants this dead, he has to kill his 6/6.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
He's gonna play the card again, trying to... We do this, this, this. We play this, and it means I can play this one for free, and then I can do this, and that means I can do this. And see if I take another 4. I can kill that one. And then end the turn.
Incredible.
So I've lost, but maybe I've played enough cards. I don't think I really played well, but whatever.
Well played. Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
So, yep, they took the victory. How many more warrior cards do I need to play? Well, 16. This is gonna take a while. Definitely gonna take a while. There was an article on, I think, PC Gamer about not getting upset and rethinking the fact that you lose about 50% of the time in Hearthstone, and it's designed so you lose about 50% of the time on average. Most players do, and not being salty and upset about it. And as I'm reading the article, I'm like, I don't think you've got any real solutions here, other than rethinking the outcome. Because none of them promise to fix to increase how often you win. Really, they were more just like, just learn to love it, just learn to love losing, which I don't think would ever happen with me. Although I'm not too upset right now. I'm mostly just kind of laid back, kind of just not spending too much energy on it. If it's gonna take us another hour of streaming, it'll take us another hour of streaming. If people are watching and not commenting, then fine. At least they're watching. If people do comment, I'll respond to the comments. Whatever happens, happens, I suppose, is the attitude I'm trying to take right now. So let's say that was 1. I doubt I will, as we're approaching midnight here, I doubt I will try to record anything else today. Even though most of my recording does take place between 10 and 6 in the morning.
Go ahead, blow something
So next turn, I would like to be able to play this, but I won't be able to play it. So instead, I'll just play this for full cost. I guess next turn. Now I'd like to play this card, then next turn after that play these two. Or if I could play all of them at the same time, that'd be nice. Vaporize. Darn it.
You want it? I got it.
Keep playing these warrior cards. Keep playing them. It's unlikely I have even 15 in the deck. So it's gonna be at least a couple games. Right. We do this. Attack here. We do this. We end the turn.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Alright. This. Darn it. Counterspelled, but that's alright. So this will be an 8-3 and an 8-3, which does 16, plus this, which would be 24. We'll do this, 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 and attack. What are you gonna do now? He could use this to kill one, he just won't kill one. This spell kills them both, actually. But it doesn't inherently save them if I can get 2 hits in. What is this one? Adapts. After this minion attacks a hero, adapt. Do I want to play this card? 8, 10. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it.
Job's done. We're gonna be rich.
There he goes. There we go. Expected something like that. It should have. So many people play Reno. Which I probably should play Reno too. I don't even know if I have it. But I'm getting close to the point where decks can be made that only have one
Well played.
of the card. So things like that start to make more sense. Hurry up, take your victory. Take your victory. Let's move on. I've got more business to do. It's been now about an hour and a half, I believe, of streaming after doing barely a 1 hour
Well played.
a 1 hour recording element, which is fine. How many more cards do I need to play? Only 7. Good. 7 more cards of warrior class, and then we can call it a day. I bet there's not much on TV on Memorial Day anyways, though, so not that I'm watching much TV anymore. I'm getting more and more to the point of just wanting to get rid of all of them. All of it. Netflix I still use every now and then, but broadcast TV is so rare, so rarely has anything worth watching. It's annoyingly bad. I'm just gonna try to trade out all the cards that aren't red card backs as a plan. I figure that might work well. And he's going for a quest. This will be interesting. 1, 2. So that's one card so far. And let's hold on to this one and see if we can power it up some more, like we did last time when we lost. Guess I don't have a choice.
Job done.
Keep playing. Now this requires you to play 6 spells that are added. You just got one of them. I don't know why you'd play this card for that quest, but whatever. And see, this weapon will go back into her hand, and I don't know if it counts as a spell, though.
X marks the spot. Rocket away!
See, they're about to lose. You got a Reno Jackson? Somewhere out there? Let's see. I'm just gonna let him.
You win.
Didn't need that. Didn't need the victory. Not on a casual play. How many more warrior cards? 3 more warrior cards. And just in the interest of saving time, if I can play 3 more warrior cards and then concede, I think I might consider doing it. Since I'm just playing on casual and mostly just doing nothing else.
Victory or death!
Let's get rid of these 2. We want 2 more like this.
Job's done.
I'm still not certain though that these are actually warrior cards. I think they are, but it's hard to tell. Play this. Attack here. So I'm just not going to count them. So we'll assume that this will be the first one we actually want to play. I was hoping it would hit that one, but whatever. Not a lot going on here, is it? Just mostly staying silent. This costs 2 less. Well, that won't help right now. Maybe next turn I could play this and then play this and deal 1 damage to these 2. That might actually work rather well. This would reduce this to 1, but if I have 5, that works. This will do its death rattle and do 1 damage to at least this one. Alright. So, attack here. This. This. And end the turn. What is he doing to this? Well fed, +2/+2. What spell is this that he's casting? Each turn this turns into a new weapon.
Job's done.
This will be interesting
to see if it actually transforms. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a weapon. So there is a way to play the Molten Blade in at least one scenario. Let's do that. And what do we want to do? Do we really want to attack? Nah. Just end the turn there. What is it? Oh, it's Dinomancy. That's why he's been able to power up the beast. He's been using this skill he got somewhere. Watch this. Let's see what happens when we do that. 50% chance to hit the wrong enemy. I'll take those odds.
Job's done.
Your hero power becomes deal 2 damage when this one dies. Interesting. This is interesting. This death rattle gives you a hero power that another character would have. The shaman, I think. Well, wait a minute. Is there deal 2 damage? No, nobody else has that spell. That hero power. Did I play 3 warrior cards is the big question. Please tell me I did. One last look at the chat. Yes, I did. Good. So, as far as I can tell, nobody's chatting. If people are chatting, it's not showing up on my phone, so effectively nobody's chatting. That's the quest for these 3 days, and we're set, so that's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.